There are things that I don't understand. Most things. Most things that have been born from ego. It's extremely difficult for someone who has escaped or transcended this temporary human form existence. And of all these things that one does not understand, the main thing is, how can this aid, transform, enhance, or destroy the human species mind into a particular way, into my way? To imply that my way is the right way, it does not compute with that what speaks, that what is. So therefore, it's difficult to accept anyone that says it's best if you do it the religious way. It's best if you do it the spiritual way. It's best if you do it the scientific way. It's best that you do it the Vedanta way, the Buddhist way. It's best that you do it the Christian way, the Catholic way. It's best that you do it the man way or the woman way. It's best that you do it the politician's way. It's best that you do it your partner's way. There's no coherence. There's no sameness for every one of us. You see, the most difficult thing one can understand is when we normalize the normal way, you see, when we normalize things. You see, I have been said to be very uninteresting and boring, and this is not a reflection or a replication of my life away from this camera. You see, I work in a mental hospital, and each what they call a patient, you see, I don't see any difference between the psychologist and myself and the patients. You see, we're all unique in our own way, you see, and it's so much open and diverse to experience even what you call the madman's way, you see. But of course we have to interfere and normalize and help them recover into their best way, you see. Because the psychologist and the nurse and the doctor are not saying, I want this patient to be how I want this patient to be. I want this patient to be free to express their own way. And deep down inside, that's what we all want for each other. But we can't cope when all of those ways are completely extreme unto my way. So therefore I have to look for a way. It's not their fault, it's my fault. I have to look for a way. And I begin to look externally for a way. And the religious is saying, this is the best way. And the science is saying, this is the best way. And the spiritualist is saying, this is the best way. And the atheist is saying, this is the best way. But it takes you back to, and it takes me back to Jesus. Jesus was a very important, and was the only important key principle to awakening for myself. I don't really talk about this, but Jesus was misinterpreted in a way that when you interpret someone good, you want to be like that person. So you're following the Jesus way, you see. And Jesus' way of being good was to feed the 5,000, was to stand up against the hierarchical empires and religious dogma and rebel, or that's what we assume he was doing. He was rebelling. It's just that they didn't accept him for his way. But Jesus was saying, through me, I is the way. So each one of us has an I. You know, we can use it in a personal way, an egoistic way. I am Graham, this person. I am a man. I am married. I have a job. I work in the mental hospital. I have so many good things about my life, and I have so many bad things that I can say about my life. I am this I person. But the true I, the towering, spearing I, has many windows, billions and billions of windows. You see, it spears through the universes, the galaxies. They call it holograms or black holes or whatever it is, you know. And each window is a unique I. You see, and the most free and liberating, you know, verbal comment that I heard from Jesus was, be who you truly are. Just be genuine and original to what you truly are, and speak the words through me. Your me is different from my me. Through me, follow me. Jesus is not pointing to himself. Jesus was never saying, it's my way, do it my way. You know, Jesus was saying, I am the Son of God, like you all are children of God. And God accepts each one of us if we are what we truly are, in the way of God. The way of God is to say, be yourself. Be free to express, be free to be boring, be free to be funny, be free to be happy, be free to be miserable. As long as you're genuine and open and saying, this is what I am, accept me for what I am. Through me, I is your way. Follow me, your me, I is your way. We can call it, when I say I is your way, you say, yeah, he's right, I am my way. I is your way. I am my way. The world, when you open up to other fellow human beings, and you open up to animals, and you open up to the trees, and you open up to your mind, and you open up to your brain, and you open up to your body, and you open up to existence, you have no idea how deep and profound this world of mind is. A thought brought me here. A thought. I am born from a thought. I have a brain or a mind that says, here you go. You can become the thinker of the thought for a short spell, for a short time. And then you have to give up the thought of what you are. This is awakening enlightenment, giving up the thought of what I am, into becoming that I am. But to the complex, intelligent mind, it can create suffering and depression. No, it's not like that. We have to learn. We have to do all this stuff. No, you have to do it your way. If learning is your way, learning is your way. If ego is your way, ego is your way. But don't imply your way on anyone else. Just give them a hand up, as Jesus did for myself. I remember one of the most profound sayings many years ago, before I really understood religion, spirituality, science, Buddhism, Hinduism, Krishna, Jesus, Ramana. I remember at a wedding, and the priest or the minister said, I want to tell you a little story about faith, because the couple has to have faith. And this story is the most precious story to keep within you. Here you go, I'm giving you some entertainment. And he said, this lady was beginning to lose faith in life, in all aspects of life. And every day she would walk along the beach, and she would look back at the end of the walk and see her footprints. And one day, she started at the beginning of the beach, and she said, I can't do it. I can't walk this path anymore. Every time I walk along the beach, I look back and the water washes away my footprints like I've never walked. This life is a waste of time. I'm not going to walk this beach anymore. I'm going to walk into the ocean, because that's where the footprints end up anyway. And just as she was about to, this man behind her says, no, come, walk with me. And she looked and she says, who are you? He says, I'm Jesus. I've come to walk with you. And she, in her bewilderment, with tears streaming from her eyes, says, you want to walk with me? Oh yes. I watch you every day walking this beach. And what else is there really to do but to keep walking? Keep walking the path. Keep walking the way. So come, walk with me. And at the end of the walk, she looks back and there's 2 sets of footprints. And she says, thank you. He says, I'll see you here, same time tomorrow. What? Yeah. It was really nice. I enjoyed your company. And this goes on for a few days. And then one day she turns up and he doesn't turn up, and she completely became accustomed to this walk with Jesus. And she completely lost her faith. She said, I must have been dreaming. And she looked into the ocean like no time had passed. like it was all a dream. And she was going to walk into the ocean, and something inside said, keep walking. Keep walking. But she couldn't find the physical effort. She had become drained and miserable again. But something made her walk. And at the end of the walk, she looked back and she only saw one set of footprints. A few years this lady passed on, and on her way to heaven, she passed by Jesus. And he says, Jesus, I know you. Of course you know me. She said, was I dreaming on the beach? No. She says, why did you leave me? I was just getting better. No, he says, you were just relying on me. And you have to do it on your own. She says, I was so sad the day you never turned up. And I had to push myself, or something pushed me to get to the end of the beach, and I looked back and there was only one set of footprints. And he says, yes, I know. And Jesus says, but that set of footprints was mine. I was carrying you. Faith. You're always being carried. You're always being looked after. We live in a materialistic, messy world of mind and ego and needs and desires and wants. And yes, awakening enlightenment can reveal something incredibly profound and true about yourself and God and Brahman and Atman and Absolute and consciousness and Source and the light and transcending and the universal love. Yes. But a simple story. Everyone is carrying you. Everyone is carrying me. We're all being carried. Sometimes we can walk on our own and be the carrier, and sometimes we just need carried. But when you know this, I didn't know that story was going to be so joyful. At the wedding, yeah. If you're religious, that's a good story, I suppose. Because there was no faith at that time. There was no trust. Now all that exists is, I don't push anything onto anyone. I just say, yeah, whatever you're doing, do it your way. And then you're following in the footsteps of Jesus. Don't follow in his steps. Be proud of your own steps and walk high, holy, whole. And in one moment, God, before this body fades into the ocean. But you're right. If you do it right, the right will bestow love upon you. Namaste.